Hi, and thank you for coming to my channel. I appreciate you stopping by. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of any future videos. Today, the video will be on a white and black, more white, distressed table riser. I heard somewhere in the news that the trays are out, so we decided to make a riser, and I want to show you how to make one. First thing that happens is you have setup. I share the same space with my husband in the garage, so we have to set up every day the new tables and bring out the equipment. We'll be using paint by Rust-Oleum, the chalk paint. It'll be linen white, a gray, and a charcoal black. Also, the sealer that we will use will also be from Rust-Oleum. The table legs that you see here were purchased at Home Depot. And then the wood, I actually used a repurposed wood from my own stash. And what I like to do is look for wood that have a little bit of character on the side. It also has to be heat treated or have the stamp HT on it. Here I am sizing up the legs with the table. Here I'm measuring the table legs to the wood just to get a more accurate size of what I'm trying to accomplish for the room that I'm trying to accomplish it in. Safety first, so make sure that you wear your safety goggles. And also, I am now measuring a little bit more efficiently with the tape measure before bringing the wood over to the miter saw and giving it the final width cut. This is using my Bosch miter saw. Here I am measuring about 28 inches. Through the sanding process. I use a Ryobi cat corner sander. It's something that I can actually hold in my hand, and as I'm sanding across the wood, it allows me to feel the wood, so to speak, under my hand. And I will use both hands actually in this process, because one will be sliding my hand over the wood to make sure there's no splinters. Other people may do it differently. This isn't a technique that I like. And any splinters that may come, I take it out with a corner cat sander by Ryobi. So here I'm actually using my finger, and the finger will get all the small little nicks, because if you remember, that one piece of wood in the front had a lot of character on it. And once it's finally smooth to the touch, then I'll go ahead and wipe it off and get all the excess sawdust off of it. Okay, Rust-Oleum, the chalk paint, the charcoal. It's a charcoal gray, charcoal black. I'm going to have full coverage of the charcoal, and the charcoal is going to be in all the crevices and all the character marks that are in there. That is something that I actually want to shine a little bit through the white that'll be the last coat that we put on. I'm using a sponge brush for this process. I find it's easier to get into all the cracks and the crevices of the wood using a sponge brush, but it's a personal preference. You can actually use just a regular brush if you like. I'm also now doing the table legs. The sponge brush helps with the table legs to get into the smaller crevices. Once it is fully fully dry, then I'll be using the aged gray chalk paint, also from Rust-Oleum. I'm not going to give it a full coverage this time. I'm going to do it, as you can see here, just a partial coverage, so half on and half off. This will give it a unique effect in the end. As I apply the linen white will be almost a complete and full coverage, but we're going to also leave a little bit of character with that so the gray and the black can show through. In between each of the process of painting, you're going to allow it to dry completely. This particular paint dries pretty quick in the Florida heat, so we only had about an hour and a half in between each coat. You can see that I'm applying the linen white to both the board and the legs, and I'm kind of skipping over it as I'm applying this. This will allow a little bit more character when we go through the process of sanding. See where I have skipped some of it, so it's, let's say, 90% coverage. I think I said almost full coverage before, so that's about right. Once the paint is completely dry, I'm going to hand sand, and I believe I was using a 120 grit here, and I'm going to sand the legs, or the top of the table first is fine, but I'm not going to sand the entire leg or the entire top of the table. I'm basically going to run it over the parts that protrude a little bit to give it that character mark. If I do it with each leg, they'll look very, very similar. Now it's time to apply the Rust-Oleum Sealer. It goes on clear and it'll change the coloring just slightly. I decided on a matte clear. I did not want a shiny and glossy finish, so matte was the perfect sealer. I only applied one coat to the table. Here I'm measuring the legs. I measured 2 inches from each of the corners going in and 2 inches each of the corners coming down and going up in order to be able to fit the legs where I wanted it. This was done on both sides, and then you measure and then you remeasure. I am marking now where I'm going to drill the holes. Make sure that you have the correct bit on your drill and it's not too large, otherwise you won't be able to screw in the legs to the bottom of the table. The best thing to do is to take some blue painter's tape around your bit for the depth that you would like. The tabletop is approximately 3/4 of an inch thick, and I did not, only because I used my eyes and my sight, use the blue tape around the bit. But if you put blue painter's tape around the bit to where you know that when you're drilling, it doesn't go any further than that. It'll help you not go through the entire table. Here I am checking to make sure that it did not go through. I like to apply Gorilla Glue to most of my projects, especially when the legs will not be removed and they are a permanent fixture. Just helps if I happen to be a little bit clumsy and I drop the table, maybe the table legs won't fall out. Now we have the process of just taking the table leg and screwing it into the wood. Apply a little pressure. I like to drill my holes a little bit smaller than the table leg because I'd prefer to have the grip from the screw grip the top of the table. Again, that's going to be your personal preference. And here I am showing off the finished product. Here you can see the character marks in the front I left. You also have character marks in the back. Character marks are throughout the entire table, including the legs, and it turned out exactly like I wanted. And here we're going to show you a little bit of style that we did in the black and white room. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please again, click the subscribe button and make sure to click that bell too so you're notified of my other videos. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.